Hello, hello, hello. My name is Claire. Welcome to my channel, Cool Claire ASMR. So, for today's video, I will be showing you my vinyl record collection. So, I got a record player probably about 2014. So, most of these records are from that time period, about 2014 to 2016. I've gotten a few here or there over the last few years, but a lot are from that time in my life, so when I was in high school. So let's get started. So first up is this Wild Stallions record. And if you have ever seen the movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, then you would know that this is a fictional band from the movie, and this record is actually the soundtrack for that movie. So we have Bill, and then Ted down here, and you know it's all reflective to look futuristic, and then we got some lightning on the back. So that movie is one that I've seen over and over and over again since I was a kid. So when I saw this on Urban Outfitters website, I had to get it. I would say my favorite off this album is The Boys and the Girls Are Doing It. Okay. Next is another soundtrack record. This one is from the cartoon Adventure Time, and on this cover is Finn and Jake in this sort of yin and yang design. Here's Finn and Jake. And if you have never seen Adventure Time, it is a cartoon from Cartoon Network about these two characters navigating the land of Ooo, which is a post-apocalyptic place from our world. And of course it has a lot of the songs from the show on it. And my favorite is the closing title, Come Along With Me. And then this one opens up. So then it shows this musical, I think is what it's called, and then Finn and Jake down here. And at the very end of the series, she sings the closing title. So it wraps it up very nicely. Unfortunately, this record does not work. There's something wrong with it. It will hardly not play. It must be warped or something. But I think I got this one from like Hot Topic or something. But it's still cool to have in my collection. Next up is a classic, Riot by Paramore. If you've never heard this, then I don't know what you're doing. At least not the popular songs off of it. There's Miss Hayley Williams herself, and the Farrell brothers, and Josh. I don't know. I forget these names. They've had so many changes to the lineup. But my favorite off of this album is Crush, Crush, Crush. Of course, Misery Business is good too. Okay. And I think I got that one. I'm not sure. I think I got it for Christmas. But it's probably from Urban Outfitters. Next is Talon of the Hawk by the Front Bottoms. And on the cover of this one is this knife. This clearly like hand sketched And the Front Bottoms is one of my favorite bands, and they are definitely an acquired taste with that kind of like talk singing vibe to it, especially in the older stuff. But it was a staple of my high school years, so naturally I like every song on this album. But some of my favorites are Peach, Twin Size Mattress, Skeleton, and Swear to God the Devil Made Me Do It, but I like them all. And I got this off of their website. Next up is another high school staple, Vessel by 21 Pilots. And this isn't their first album, but it is their first album that got really mainstream popular. And it has both of their granddads on the cover. And here's the back. Now, I haven't listened to 21 Pilots, at least this album, in quite a while, but just taking a glance over the songs here, I would say my favorite is Semi-Automatic. Okay. Next is an album by DeMarco, and this album is another one. And the cover is him kneeling in front of a lake or an ocean, I'm not sure. And then here's him on the back. And if you've never listened to DeMarco before, he has a very like chill sound to him. So that's why I thought it was so interesting that he was covering a Metallica song for their new cover collaboration album. And I heard a little sneak peek of it, and he's actually like singing it like heavy and not all chill. So I'm excited to hear the whole thing. Oh, and my favorite song off of this one, I like the My House by the Water because he gives his address out at the end and then was surprised when people actually showed up to his house. Like, yeah, dude, you're like kind of famous and people are weird. Okay. Next up is another album that was a staple in high school. The Killer's Hot Fuss. And the cover is this nice light blue sky with some buildings. And the background is just plain. And this is another one where I really enjoy the whole album, with some good ones. Mr. Brightside, Smile Like You Mean It. I like Somebody Told Me, On Top, Change Your Mind. They're all great, you get my point. We're about halfway through now, almost. So this album is one of the ones I have bought more recently, and it's definitely more obscure. Someone I had an art class with my senior year of high school introduced me to this band. It is Y, and this album is called Alopecia, you know, like the disease that makes you lose all your hair. And then I really like the album cover. It is this very collage style, and all of their albums are like that. And this one has some horses running amongst the clouds. And I would definitely say this band is an acquired taste as well. Kind of that talk singing vibe, and I really like all the songs. But if you were to listen to one song off this album, I would recommend Good Friday. Good Friday. The lyrics are like really wild and interesting. Okay, next I have Capacity by Big Thief. And the album cover is just this old photo of a young dad and his baby. I'm not sure if it is the lead singer's parent or not, but... And then the back just has a small picture of the band. Big Thief. So, some favorites off of this album are Shark Smile and Mythological Beauty. And I got this album at a record store, actually. Okay, next up is Sufjan Stevens, Carrie and Lowell. And this is the artist's parents, and these are, their names, of course. And any alternative fan definitely knows Sufjan Stevens. He's just like a staple, I would say. And then the back is just another picture of the mom. And this album is very sad sounding, and my favorite is 4th of July, and I believe it is about his mother dying, but it's a good song. Like I said, definitely pretty sad though. Okay. Next I have kind of a random pick. Truly, I randomly got this at a local record store just because I thought it had a cool album cover, and I just wanted to get something to try out. And it's very hard to see. I don't know if you can see it at all, but kind of embossed on the cover is 2:54, like the time. And I don't really have a favorite. I haven't listened to this album enough, but I do remember liking it. So, not bad for just a random selection. I'll probably listen to it after I'm done shooting this video just to refresh my memory, Next is another pop punk high school me's favorite, Modern Baseball, You're Gonna Miss It All, with another vintage picture in this very green tone on the cover. And I really like every song, but that's kind of the point of getting something in vinyl, to listen to it all the way through, so it makes sense to buy things that you like all of. I like Find Great, Apartment, and of course the most popular song, Your Graduation. Okay. Next up is In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. And if you have ever been on Tumblr, then I'm sure this album cover looks familiar to you. And honestly, my favorite is their most popular song off of this, the title song, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea. And I was actually taking a good look at this album cover for the first time, and I noticed these two people casually drowning. But it has this drum head lady and then this little boy waving at her. And then on the back is this marching band, and they start off really tall and get shorter and shorter and shorter. Okay. Next is another Modern Baseball album, Sports. And they're keeping up their theme with old pictures. I believe this is their first album. And it's this little girl with her fish. Another one that I thoroughly enjoy, but my favorite is Tears Over Beers. Tears Over Beers. Okay. Next up is the album Funeral. I guess it goes like this. Funeral by Arcade Fire. With this hand with a quill. Arcade Fire. And I would say this is another staple of alternative music fans. And I feel like I don't really have a favorite off this album. It's just a nice, like, background vibe, like studying for me. Okay. Next is a Weezer album, and not a very popular one of theirs. One of the newer ones, Everything Will Be Alright in the End, with this little monster, you know, walking through the mountains. And this one my dad actually got to listen to, but it just ended up with my records because I have the player. But I actually do enjoy this album. And my favorite is Cleopatra. This reminds me of a Bob Ross painting. Some happy little mountains and happy little trees. Okay. Next is one of my favorite records of all time, which says a lot about me, I guess. Peripheral Vision by Turnover. And I have seen Turnover live like 4 times. And the picture is this girl standing in front of a spider web. And it's this red tone. And then on the back there's like this building that says Live Alligators. Love every song, of course. It's one of my favorite albums, but my favorite song is Take My Head, but I also like Diazepam and New Scream. Okay. We have 3 more left. So next is this album by Father John Misty. And ooh, I really don't remember what this is called. I Love You, Honey Bear, I think. I don't know. It was a recommendation off of some guy that I met on Tinder that I dated for like a month. But this album is a good album. And I really love the cover art. There is a lot happening on the back too. And it opens up for even more cool art. And I don't think I have a favorite. I haven't listened to it very much. Next up is Deja Vu by Brand New, with this little astronaut on the cover. Another one of those albums that I listened to over and over and over again in high school. And some of my favorites is Okay, I Believe You, but My Tommy Gun Don't, and The Boy Who Blocked His Own Shot. Okay. And for my last and most recent purchase is Pony by Orville Peck, which is kind of like a rock and roll country album. Orville Peck. And I don't really listen to any other country music, but like I said, this is more of a rock album, honestly. And my favorites off of this is Dead of Night and Roses Are Falling. And if you haven't heard this, I highly recommend it, even if you aren't a country fan. It is surprisingly delightful. And he always wears his little mask. Alrighty, that is my vinyl record collection. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're a fan of any of these albums, let me know in the comments, and have a good night. Good night.